The civil rights movement began in the 1960s. The goals of this time period were to end racial segregation and discrimination against Black Americans. This movement was characterized by major campaigns of civil resistance. Between 1955 and 1968, acts of nonviolent protest and civil disobedience produced crisis situations. Some forms of protest or civil disobedience included boycotts, such as the successful Montgomery bus boycott. They also had sit-ins from 1958 through 1960. They would sit at lunch counters and just wait there until they got served. After about 3 weeks, all dot-com stores in Kansas were desegregated. Lastly, they did marches. One famous march is the March to Washington in 1963. The march was a success with an estimate of about 200,000 to 300,000 people. They marched to the Lincoln Memorial, where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Martin Luther King Jr. was a famous lead figure during this time period. He led the Montgomery bus boycott and helped found the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in 1957. He also helped organize the 1963 nonviolent protests in Birmingham, Alabama, that attracted national attention following television news coverage of the brutal police response. On October 14, 1964, King received the Nobel Peace Prize for combating racial inequality through nonviolence. In 1968, King was planning a national occupation in Washington, D.C. to be called the Poor People's Campaign, but was assassinated on April 4, 1968 in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 39. During the phase of the Civil Rights Movement, some acts were passed. The Civil Rights Act of 1964, which banned discrimination based on race, color, religion, or national origin. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 restored and protected voting rights. The Immigration and Nationality Services Act of 1965 dramatically opened entry to the U.S. immigrants other than traditional Northern European and Germanic groups. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 that banned discrimination in the sale or renting of housing. As a result of all of this, Black Americans then enjoyed equal rights with the whites.